And we're live. Hello, welcome. We are doing a stage, which is fine. So let's try it this way. Let's go add on a share screen. Normally it pops up on the other version. Allow to share. Is it allow to share screen? If you do, I think it's just a screen. So I'm assuming allow to share window. Nope. I don't really want that one. Share this window. Cancel. Go here. Again, the other one, it would pop up. Do a little test. So bear with me. Share screen. That's what I normally do. I'll share, but then that's great. But the problem is I can't see it's just showing the screen. Share entire screen. I don't need to share the entire screen. Your browser has blocked your screen. Click the screen icon in your address bar to allow access.
It would be theoretically in the address bar, like it'd be one of these things, because this is your address bar up here.
Yeah, I see that, but
This is your address bar up here.
okay.
So theoretically.
What's up, Will? Nothing. Because if I click this, I'm sure it's going to bump me off. Learning curve. Learning curve. I wanted to share something with you guys, but maybe I'll have to do it on the old phone, the old way. 2008. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear. Maybe you can hear this. Let's see if we can play a little bit of it. I was going to play for you because I can't start page. For some reason, I can't pull it up. I might try again here. See, me and Tanner have been going back. Sure did. All right, I'm going to play a little bit of this for you. I did. I did. I was I was taking a nap. I was taking a nap and I heard Three Rivers, one of the guys down in Texas, messaged me. He's like, "Hey, he's like, you got some bad weather in your area." And I kind of woke up and I was like, "We do?" It's like I know we got some really downpour rains, but I'm sitting there like kind of like looking out the window, kind of going, "What's coming? What's coming?" Because I know there was some batches of storms coming. So it is what it is, right? Luckily, I think so far, I think I just heard there was three deaths out of it, so that's unfortunate. So definitely pray for those families. That's not no fun, at least as of right now. So Kevin, what have you been seeing on your end? What's the economy like? Basically, I was going to get into. That's why I wrote it as 2008. I think we're potentially. I don't know, man. Stuff is something smells funny out there, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Higher gas prices. Job reports just came out. That's before the revised 92,000 uh, jobs lost That's before revise, so you know that's probably going to be 100 or 120 or something. You never know. Does anybody do the speedy, like the speedy reward stuff? I've been looking back into it a little bit. Um, jobs. Whoops. Oh, what is it? Is it Will? I'm pretty sure it's Will. Will, what's been new? You still working on some gates? Have you bought anything from Stevens? Get any gate operators? Okay, so service is steady, which is probably explains like today they had service calls. I think we just rounded up all our. I think the residential is pretty much covered. You know what I mean? Like I don't think they have much. They might have some coming in, but this is dropped off. I had a install crew. We be mainly helping service last few weeks. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Kevin, what do you think? I mean, you think things are kind of going in the right direction, or you think we're kind of where we is it stagflation? Do you think we're kind of going down? What's your which way do you think it's going to go? It's kind of really crummy because it can be a little deceiving right now because you do get like the tax stuff. So like residential, typically you'll see a little bit. We don't see a lot because we just you know how it is. We don't have a lot of residential that can afford it. So I did my drive today, just checking out some jobs and looking around and stuff and feeling out. I think it's funny. I can't guarantee it's the way to go, but I always think it's a theory of mine about when you watch Apple Avenue and the traffic. You can hear the traffic, and the traffic is not super busy. There's just seems like there's not very much commerce going on right now. I think we just had another business for like 170 employees. This is kind of like a die-cast place too, so normally a pretty sturdy, hardy job for this neck of the woods. I think they're closing, so it's going to be interesting to see. I guess luckily, and we don't do that account, so since they're closing the doors, we never got into that building. So it's not like we're going to lose a customer out of it, but you know how it is. It trickles down. You got the resident, you got people that work there. They got homes, so things will it trickles. Oh, Irish situation. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I would 100% agree, Kevin. It's you know, I never know in these situations if it's to make you like spend money because I was already thinking to myself about getting like a fuel tank. I did this a long time ago. I think I used to have two fuel tanks. No, you know what? I can't remember. No, I had two at one time. I think I had one though. What it was is I had a forklift. So what I would do is I had a 100 gallon on a skid, and I would take it down because where the old shop used to be, there was a speedway right down the road, and so I would go down there and I would fill up a 100 gallon tank, and that would last us normally about a week and a half, 2 weeks, with a couple running about I don't know what we had then. We had about three trucks, full size, couple Ford Rangers. So, but like I said, I normally would get about $100 a month in points. So I get like $100 in free fuel, which every little bit adds up. But I do believe, well, let me put some of these up. Good evening, Dave. Good evening. Three Rivers. Steady. Steady as she goes. Like there, yeah, keep climbing. Scare people into hanging on to their money. I know that's how I kind of feel. I kind of feel like I somewhat can't say for sure yet because I thought I seen coolant by the exhaust, and I don't know if the coolant's going through the exhaust or it's just leaking somewhere because we had heavy rains. So I don't know if that being serviced, if they did something, they spilled something. But kind of glad we didn't jump into a new vehicle with the uncertain times. I asked the wife, Trust, what's the insurance cost? She's like, I think it's like $43. I'm like, $43. Like, that's nothing. It's like, I can handle that. What's up? Oh man, found your channel as I started a garage door service. Nice. What's the best way? Advertise, get leads. Oh, so I did mention this. I think I seen your comment. So I'm sorry I didn't thumbs up or heart it or comment back. I did something a while back, kind of talking about it. But I'm glad you're here and you're more than welcome to ask any questions or anything you got. So welcome. Excuse me. Um, can't use Google local service ads yet because of licensing fees. So some things that go through my head. And I've thought about playing with this. There's many different ways. I think sometimes just remember that sometimes we can put our blinders on and get so focused. And so one way is bandit signs. Now you got to watch because there is certain townships, not all of them typically, but you got to watch certain townships will yank those things like crazy. Bandit signs. You could always do. I never did it, but I'm not saying it doesn't hurt. You could always do the restaurant papers they put down. Billboards are probably pretty pricey. I always wanted to do the radio. I got really close to it. I had everything built and I never pulled the trigger because we just got busy again. I was just like, why would I spend $4,000 or $6,000 when we just were too slammed? You should always be advertising, right? So those are some ways. Um, if you can afford, if you got a pretty modest vehicle, you could always have it wrapped or get something on the windows. Doesn't hurt. I'm not going to say that's the golden ticket. Um, but if you're going to the store a lot, lumberyard and stuff, Home Depot, Lowe's, you're parking there, people are seeing it. I've seen some people get creative and put those business cards on the side of their vehicles, like magnets or whatever, and they got like a flap to keep the weather. Um, Another idea, which I think most people are scared to do this, but this is my opinion. I would have to believe. I don't know if Tanner is Tanner on here. If Tanner's here, Tanner would be one. Maybe even like Rusty. But here's the thing, right? I would like to believe, and I believe that there is other good garage door companies out there, good garage door owners, businessmen, businesswomen. And if you took the time and even if you don't strike the first time, like they're not around, or you would like just to talk to them or something, I guess what I'm getting at is it surprises me how very few, if any, people ever come through the door and ask, almost like ask for a job or ask to be a sub, or how can I help? You know, how could I provide a service? You know, how could I improve your business so I could make some money, or whatever. Um and like, like for me, like I'd be willing to go in, um, darn near free. You know what I mean? Like try me out. I don't know why we're brainwashed so badly that we can't, like, if you can swing it, so either you can sit a week on a couch and kill yourself and try to, wrap your head around and try to find something that that you're going to pay, that's going to be the miracle pill, or you can just put the old tennis shoes on, put the boots on, and go out there and make contacts with people. Like you'd be surprised. Like just I think about it, like I was telling Mr. Caleb, you know, I have gotten so much opportunity by just walking down the damn road. Like like I didn't have a ride one day, and I was like, I'm not gonna call somebody. I was like, I got my boots on. I can walk down the road. I need the exercise. I need the fresh air. I'm gonna walk down the road. And that's how we got the building, because I found a sign in the ditch. And I'm like, oh, I've never seen this building before. I've walked past this building multiple times. So, and then, just keeping your eyes open, like for the property next door, right? I seen it got surveyed, right? So I used my eyes, I used my senses. I was like, whoa, it was like something's changing over here. I should find out who owns this. So I guess what I'm getting at though is like, if somebody walked in, like there was a time, it was funny because me and Cap were just talking about this the other day. We were saying how, um we were talking about how it wasn't that long ago, right, when the cough syndrome was going around. Excuse me. When the cough syndrome was going around, how we were turning down all residential. We turned every residential service call pretty much down. You know what I mean? Can't do it. Can't do it. We're booked. We're booked. We're booked. We're booked. And if I would have known somebody that I knew was, willing to try, had a good attitude, possibly had a vehicle, I could probably, even if they were a good enough attitude, trustworthy, honest, I like, that's normally not a problem. Like I'll find a way to make it work. I'll get you a vehicle, I'll get you some tools. Um, we'll make something happen. You know what I mean? But I guess what I'm saying is like, I don't have nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like if there is, it's like we got to put an ad out and they got to come in and all this stuff. What I'm saying is, it's like it's a mindset that I think we all have to some degree. At least I used to when I was younger. That it's like I can't do that. That's my competition. Instead of going, hey, why don't we work together? You know, you're a man, I'm a man. You're trying to feed your family, I'm trying to feed my family. Hmm. Because we're all on the same waters in a sense. You know what I mean? Some have bigger ships, some have smaller ships, but we're on the same water. And the what is it? The rising tide raises all ships. You know what I mean? Like it's just that's all it is. You know what I mean? So it's like I look at it and I go, sometimes I always think about just I'd go into other guys, your companies. For one, you're gonna learn, right? If they hook you up with somebody or say, you know what, I don't really quite need a guy to be on his own, but I could sub you and you could work with somebody, or maybe they're gonna sub work. Now, I would assume probably the bigger ones, like overhead, I probably ain't gonna cut it. You know what I mean? They're pretty, you know what I mean, cookie cutter. But you find the medium to the lower guys, you know what I mean? And you never know. You might find one too that's deciding that, you know what, another 3 or 5 years, I'm thinking about retiring. So you might get an opportunity there, if you build a relationship, or whatever. So I think the big thing is just keep moving. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing. You just got to keep moving, keep trying every day. Just because it's the weekend doesn't mean you take it off. Doesn't mean you be slacking. I mean, I'm not going to be this weekend. This weekend, I'll be working on a service, man. You know what I mean? Getting it all cleaned up, scrub a dub, starting to trust it because I bought a Ford. And I should have bought a Chevy. And, you know, just keep whatever. I mean, there's always stuff to do. Always. I'm sure somebody has a vehicle to clean. I'm sure somebody has tools they need to order, or at least start making a list of tools, or start making a list if you're working with a smaller vehicle. You know, I got my list sitting right there. I'm looking right at it. And that's been years, years of my list. And I'm still working on my list, putting everything together. If I'm doing residential, I do this, I do this, I bring this, I bring this, I bring this. I'm doing commercial, I do this, I do this, I do this. I work on a fence, I do this, I do this, I do this. If I work on a gate operator, bring this, bring that, bring this. Oh, yeah. Really appreciate feedback. I do service work on Honda. Nice Accord right now. Yeah. Like I said, it's one of those things. I've been kicking around the idea just for fun. I'm not exactly sure how it would work, but some of these guys out here on the community, I've thought about. I don't know what there's a gain from it, but I just want to see if it's even possible. You know what I mean? Is like I've been thinking about advertising because I do the old marketplace or whatever. I thought about advertising in their area, and if I could get a lead, and it takes a lot of work. You know what I mean? Like it takes a lot of work, but I do believe these certain guys, and I'm sure we're going to have a fumble here and there. They trust me that if I sent something to them and said, "Hey, I got you this lead, follow up with it," you know what I mean? Or I don't know exactly how it would work because obviously I'm probably going to more likely set up a price and say, "Can you do it for this price?" And they might say, go, go blow smoke, Dave. But I got so many years of experience that I can filter through. I got messages right now on Messenger, and like I mean just the silly stuff. You know how much it takes just to filter out these people? Like, I got somebody asking me the model on an opener, and I'm like, it's in the picture. So I circle it, send it to him with the picture. And then he says back, I mean, it's been like 3 days now. Now he gets back to me and he says, I'll have to check in on that. Like, what are you going to check on, dude? Like, I think they discontinued him. Like, like for $175, you're going to buy it outright. What sort of check on? Like, I just, more likely not going to turn in nothing. But I got one I drove by today. It was my fault. I kind of forgot about it. And it was a garage that burned. And I think I told him about a week ago, I was going to, like, we'll have time. We're working on a big job. And I totally forgot. So I might message him still. I drove by it. It's not in the best area. The house isn't bad. It's actually a pretty nice house for that area. But they had a fire. And so how much are they going to clean up? Is it like we're going to be, you know, zipping all to charcoal and stuff falling in your eyes and on your face? You wipe your face, you're all going to be looking like you're going to look like Rambo. I'm not sure. So I'm not quite sure. And the garage door's over to the side of the building. And so I don't know if there's going to be a low headroom issue. And he's ordering the door. He's ordering it from Menards. So I don't know if there's money there to be made. It's close to the shop, but there's just a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff. We're thinking about doing like a service in the wintertime for the gates. And that'd be perfect for somebody. You know what I mean? I don't know who, not this old man, but I'll do it if I have to. You know what I mean? If the W3, starts happening, maybe have to. Is it Dominic? Can I call you Dom? Kind of like Fast and Furious. Call you Dom. Because I'm thinking like I'm wondering what you're working with too. Like what kind of tools you got? What kind of service vehicle or car or truck or minivan or full size van? Um, uh, uh, um, yeah, yeah. Menards is it's more up here in the northern states. Um, but it's basically a Lowe's or Home Depot. You know what I mean? They just normally got quite a bit better prices. They sell Clopay, let's say they call it Ideal, but it's you can get what Clopay from Home Depot, far as I know. So unless they changed it, but some areas actually it could be different because I know Lowe's around us has changed between Amar. Now I think they're back to Wayne Dalton, so they could change. Oh, perfect. Dun, dun, dun. All my tools, 6 foot ladder in my truck. Nice, nice. Yeah. Can you in Arizona? Can you put stuff on your vehicle, a magnet? See, it sounds like Florida's a little more stingy on that. I don't think the state troopers will pull you over. I know PT goes down there, and I haven't heard him have any trouble because he's out of Indiana. But from what I heard through the whispers one time, I thought like you got to have your like license number on the vehicle if you're advertising anything. It could be an icon even. You're supposed to have it. So I don't know how strict they are. Michigan, we don't really have that. So, Mr. Tanner, what'd you work on today, Tanner? Anything special today? Just putting out fires. Today was a chill day for me. It was nice. I got the truck emptied out. I got the back door part on the van. I got parts ordered Amazon. Supposed to be here tomorrow. Supposed to be. I think it's more likely going to be here Sunday. I got a new mechanism. Ford did some weird funkiness with some cable. It seems like a dumb idea instead of just using rods. Steven, I love it, man. Ladies and gents, I love it. Welcome, welcome. Steven, what'd you do today? Anything hot on the radar? What's that old economy looking like? Ah. I just like how Steven started out with ladies. I thought that's all it said at first. Hello, ladies. Uh, Arizona is really chill on that. License is weird around garage service. Closet, right? Okay, finished carpentry. Huh. Yeah. So I mean, what stops you? Do you got anything on your vehicle already? Got any like magnets you can put on? Any stickers on the windows or something? If you want to keep it kind of low, might be worth it sometimes. Depending if you can do it. If your truck's not loaded down, I've parked vehicles. You know what I mean? I used to do that sometimes on the weekend. I'd go, I'd rotate vehicles. I'd drop a van off. Of course, ours are fully wrapped. Put it somewhat towards the entrance or whatever. Leave it there for a couple hours, 2, 3 hours, and come back, pick it up, either take it somewhere else, take it back. If I had time, you know, desperate times, desperate measures. Google or not Google, but Facebook. I think I'd hit Facebook pretty hard. Try to do a sponsored ad. Um, Try to do stuff on there for whatever. Start taking pictures of doors and stuff, and post stuff. X amount for install, X amount for this, or it's kind of hard because like when you post stuff, you almost got to keep it low, like just for the product or something, or you got to like kind of fish it a little bit, fish bait it. So it's a little goofy because otherwise, like if you just do like an install and don't say it, and sometimes Facebook will flag for like installs. So you gotta play it a little bit because I think people don't want to get duped, which I understand, but they don't understand how the algorithm works either. I used to try to post like when it was Craigslist. I tried to post almost like every night. When I was laying in bed, I was like, all right, you lazy ass. I was like, don't just sit here and look at stuff. Like post something. Like that was my mission. I posted every night something different to figure out the algorithm until I found out like, oh, this seems like this is clicking. People seem to like this, the way this is worded or whatever. Gates. I know nothing about you. A few service calls. Let's change out a logic for circuit board to find out I missed it was three phase opener. Oh, that's all right. I remember one time we messed up the power. It was three phase. We put two phase up there, and this was like when we were just starting out. And it was for a big customer of ours. It was I don't know if you guys. It's Herman Miller, and we get it up there. It's for a rolling steel door. Get it up there. My business partner time, man, he was like the electrical wizard. You know, he's up there. He's like a little chipmunk, man, just doing his thing. Gets it all wired up. He's like, throw the breaker. I'm like, okay. It's got one of those big levers. I turn it on, and all of a sudden, just see smoke. I mean, just like the heaviest smoke, like one of those vape smoker ones, just rolling out the car window, just rolling out all the things. I'm like, turned it back off really fast. We're like, what happened? It's like, I don't know. I wired it right. Blah, blah, blah. Started reading this, started volt checking. Heck, we got 460 up there on a 220 unit or whatever. Oh, man. I remember we took it out. We were pretty upset because that I don't know, it was probably 500-600 bucks back then, 800 bucks for that. It was a gearhead. And I remember we took it out of the service vehicle, and I remember he just chucked it, man, just chucked it right in the ground. Just well, that thing's junk. And I said, well, hold on, man. I said it's probably something. You know, could need a board, might need a transformer. You know, I said I don't know. I said, but you shouldn't just chuck it in the ground like that. So it's that's 600-800 bucks, man. So I ended up refurbishing it, bought a transformer. I think that's what they call it, or a phase converter. I forget what. So it tricks it. So I'm running off two phase, but it makes it thinks it's three phase. And I installed it in my garage. I used it for many years until my dog almost got stuck under it. And I was like, I probably should like get a little bit safer opener, not so robust. Big old gear head running like an 18x8. I see my dog's back legs like sticking out as she's trying to waddle underneath it. I was catching her because I have photo eyes on it. Oh, I wanted to let me jump back to this real quick. So Tanner, this is what I was also thinking. You let me know. I don't know how much that circuit board is. So you were talking about that gate operator. And that was another thing that crossed my mind. I was like, yeah, you might get a new circuit board from LiftMaster, and who's to say it's any good, right? Who's to say they could send you a bad one? I don't think that's very common. I can't remember one right out of the gates. I remember being bad, but with the quality control nowadays, I would not discount it at all. But anyways, I was thinking, okay, so you get this a bad board, or some reason something else zaps it, right? You don't know if something else was wrong. And I thought, now what happens to the board? You know what I mean? Like who eats that? And that's time, money, energy. That's why I was just like, when it comes to those really chintzy gate operators, I think they're all the same. Like all they are is just a different. They slap a different sticker. It's like when you go to the store and you look at the John Deere's, you look at the Ryder, you look at the Toros, and you're like, God dang! It's like these almost look all the same. It's just they spray painted them different colors. So those really cheap gate operators just always remind me of that. Like that's why I had one. The last one I worked on was a year or two ago. I did it for a lady not too far away from the shop. And I remember I got to everything where then I needed to program something and I didn't have a remote. So I was so irritated. So I had to call her. She had to come back from work because you have to set it with a remote unless it has a wall station or something, just like kind of like a garage door opener. I didn't have a wall station or a keypad. it was full of ants, and it just, oh man, it was just like, this is just dumb. Like, next time we're just replacing it. So her bill was like, I think it was supposed to be like 12 or like 26, I can't remember, something like 12 or $2,600. And I was just sitting there going like, you can't give her that bill. Like, yeah, but there was two guys for 3 quarters of the day, and mm-mm, nope, can't do that because she's gonna flip. Um, a car. Okay, don't have a truck yet. Anything. You never know. You never know what the customer is thinking. You know what I mean? That's one thing I always tell myself. You never know. You know, one customer might look at you and go, "Ah, they drive a car. I would never call somebody driving a car." And then some people look at you and go, "Hell, I bet that guy's just starting out. I've called three other garage door companies, and those guys stiffed me. They were way too high. You know what? I'm going to give this person a call. I bet they don't have high overhead." You know what I mean? You just never know. I've dealt with all kinds of creatures. I know the ones I don't get too excited about anymore is the ones that typically live on the lake that are multi-millionaires. I don't get too excited because sometimes it's almost like a 50-50. You know what I mean? Like, the reason they're rich is because they know how to hang on to their money, and they think everybody should bow to them, and this should be a privilege for you to be here. And sometimes they're like the most pickiest. And so just take that with a little grain of salt. Oh, Steven said, long day for me. LiftMaster opener install, then a broken spring. Are these were these like, what was the LiftMaster? Was this residential? Um, broken spring, was that also was that residential, commercial? Those are some pretty big spans, man. But that's good. Hopefully you made, like I like to say, hopefully you made some baby money. Uh, Unlock. Oh, yes. Yes. The text said, but the customer can't find them. Ooh, can I call LiftMaster and get the keys? Do I have to call my locksmith buddy? That's a great question. That is a great question. I think I would rather call LiftMaster, and I'm not quite sure how that works because normally, anytime what happens is like when we get keys, they only give you two. I think LiftMaster's kind of stingy though. I think they might only give you one. Lanier always gives us two. So typically I leave one for the customer. And then typically what I'll do is I'll take the other one, I'll magnetize it, and I'll put it somewhere under the cabinet if it's a standard. So it's on the job site. But then when it comes to LiftMaster and was it Door King? I think it's Door King. Door King makes some gate operators too. Like those ones I hang on to dear life because I don't deal with a lot of them. Like I got tons, it seems like, of the Lanier ones, but and then there's like Lanier has maybe two or three. And I don't even know which ones for sure. I just got a whole ring. That's my gate keys. So I would probably call LiftMaster first. If they're going to charge a little bit, that's fine. Um, that way you just know. But I don't know on LiftMaster if it's just like they still to let's just face the facts here. Okay, LiftMaster likes to change things year by year, don't they? And so they probably changed the keys multiple times. It's probably three or four or six different keys. But I wouldn't be afraid too. If you're already on the phone with them, be like, hey, can you send me all the keys that you guys, two of each or something, or more. You might want more, especially if you're going to start getting guys. You might want to start getting key. I used to have big keychains. We used to keep them on uh, the turn signal stock in the vehicles. But if it's like your buddy, if you need to get into it sooner and your buddy can, bang it out for you, then I wouldn't be afraid. Most stuff you can you can sneak your way into it. Like it's not like the one I just worked on. I was asking Cap. I said, does that gate operator, that one picture I showed you that had the swing gates? I said, does that have a special key for it? Because I said I drove all the way out there, which I drove to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I just of course, right, as soon as I'm turning onto the road, my GPS says to go to. All of a sudden, it dawned on me, like, oh my gosh! I said, do I got the keys for this cabinet? I don't do a lot of LiftMaster, so I'm just like, what model is this? I'm like, oh no. I'm like, this is going to be embarrassing as hell if I can't get into this cabinet. But it has the lock thing on the front, and there's two bolts on the side. So I just unloosened it, shifted the whole case, pulled the case off. There will be a video eventually out about that. I'll give you the LiftMaster tech support was really good. The lady was very helpful. I don't know what it is. Still, even when I look at LiftMaster, my eyes just go boing on the computer side of them. Where Lanier makes so much more sense after I understand them now. Like I know their glitches. I understand they're telling me something. Where like their board lights up certain things. Like this is what's lit. So you're like, okay, why has it got an open signal? Or where LiftMaster has like blinks, and so you got to like count the blinks. Blink, 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 blink. I'm like you got this big circuit board here, all this stuff, and it's like it just lights up like it's like an airplane. You know what I mean? Where I'm just like Linear just looks so much more simple to me, and I'm like, okay, there's a few quirks to them, but I can definitely help you with that. There's a few quirks I go through when I first set them up, or I look for. I know them pretty well on those, but the when it comes to LiftMaster, I just go out. I guess I'm calling tech support. With the car, using a buddy's truck for bigger jobs. Yeah, heck yeah, it can be done. Like I said, I haven't talked to Josh. His card's right up here. Yeah. And Josh had a Chevy Spark. I was so proud of him, man. He's done really good. He's moved up to a Ford Transit. I don't know what he's driving now. Probably still driving. Maybe he's still driving the Ford Transit. Glad to know. That's the only one, Tanner. Nah, it takes time. He'll get there. Just keep pushing. You know what I mean? Keep posting. Try to post stuff. Every day. Even if you got a Facebook account, just post stuff on there. Get your friends built up or whatever you got to do. Get part of the groups. You got to build this energy. You got to build this universe. You have to manifest it. Everything is here. You see all this, my earbuds, my hat, my shirt, the seat I'm in, the TV behind me, the building I'm in. This was all manifested by me. And so it takes time. You know what I mean? And I'm still trying to manifest, you know? And it's one of those things because we're Americans. We're never happy. We always want more, more, and more stuff. That'll solve the problem. And then you realize that old saying, less is more. Because that's true. Less is more. You know what I mean? More vehicles, more problems. You know, more customers, more problems. Yeah. It's a hard balance. It's a hard balance. Do you got rain, Rich? I don't think we have rain. Our rain's done. We got some maybe coming to the south, I think. Oh, dun, 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 dun. Rich, did you like my comeback? Rich seen I bought some lights, and he was so generous to send me his lights, which his were a little bit more, maybe $8 more. He was trying to go. He's got stock in Menards, so he's kind of biased. So he's trying to make me buy Menards stuff, and I was like, those don't have replaceable light bulbs. That string of lights that I got, I was like, I can't replace the light bulbs in my OCD. Like if one goes out, I'll have to rip the whole strand down and go buy another one. So We think the ones with replaceable lights is better for along the fence at the shop for security until we get some poles. Probably get some poles once we get the skid steer over there. We'll get some poles up because I got some. Get some lights. I got to pick the numbers on the lock itself. That'll help. That's good. Probably, you know how it is. I probably want the model number. I don't know if I want a serial number. The lock number would probably help. I don't know if that would help your locksmith buddy or not. That'd be a good question to ask him. Like, I don't know if that's kind of a generic number that he can look up or something. You know, it's not like it's not no smart key for a car. So, but I don't know. I just would feel a little more comfortable if it's from the manufacturer. But I'm sure if it's your buddy, he's gonna make it work, and then he'll grind it or do whatever he's got to do to make it work too. So I don't know if there's really any cost savings. I guess the only way I look at it is I go, if I need it like right now, like next week, I got to get this job. Then I'm like, I'd probably have my buddy. If I can wait a few days or a week for the keys to come in, I'd probably call LiftMaster and say, hey, I'd at least try. Say, you guys got like a little master keys that you guys kind of, because they might have like three or four or six. And if you do find out, Tanner, let me know like how many keys they offer, because I don't even know. I do know I think they have a couple, two or three, but there might be more. So anytime I've done like keypads for like linear, they got a different key. So typically they give you two, which is very nice of them. So normally I'll hang one inside the cabinet for the owner or for the maintenance guy. And then I used to keep them. I got so many. So it just depends on the situation. Sometimes I'm like, give it to the maintenance guy, like, here, put these two keys together. This is for the cabinet. This is for your keypad. And then, um, I go on from there. Excuse me. Both residential? Okay. I just do residential. Okay. I know I'm an old man. That's all right, man. Whoops. It changes all the time for me. You know, kind of when I first started, we were kind of 50-50. Then as time went on, I got into more commercial. I don't mind the commercial. Um, I don't know. I guess I feel kind of neutral on it. I really don't mind either. You know what I mean? It doesn't bother me. The only thing I'm worried about right now, like if I do residential and I take the old van, if she's a leaker, I don't know what she is yet. I think I've seen some coolant under it. I don't see no drips of oil. I'm concerned about this coolant. I don't know if it's got possibly a cracked head. I don't know. I don't know. It's got to earn my trust still. And so I just don't want leaking somebody's driveway. So residential kind of sucks for that. You know, I don't know. It just, I mean, residential is nice, quick money. Commercial, you're kind of there. It's nice. I don't mind. I guess I'm just kind of, but commercial is, you definitely need some help most time. You need help, more extra help, hands somewhere. Yep. Yeah, four trucks. Right. Right. Exactly. You do. Takes time. And you got to find out, don't forget to find your threshold and you know, uh, what kind of makes you happy. Oh, that's right. There you go, Tanner. Get the fake dog poop. Yeah, that's right. Dude, I had a rock, a greenish rock. I love that thing. It used to have I can't remember if it flipped or it slid, but you would hide a key in there. When I used to live at my mom's, when I was like a kid, and I love that thing, dude. I'd hide that thing. Like, that's my little key. You know what I mean? Like, I love that little rock. I have to look for it again one day, just to bring back memories. But I found if you hide them in the woods, I forget where they're at, like a squirrel burying your acorns, never find them again. So the magnet, if they got the metal cabinets, big cabinets, that works the best. And the reason I like to do that It's because there's multiple reasons. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten calls when I'm in a personal vehicle or I'm out. This might be a weekend. It might be just I'm heading up. I'll take a look at it, but they got it. They shut it. But it's just in manual mode. I've had to have workers, in personal vehicles. I've had my wife, actually. She's coming back from somewhere, and I'm like, hey, she's going to be driving past there, and I can't tell you how many times that key has saved my hiney, having a key on site where I can go, hey, it's over here, go get it. What we should do is we should probably up our game, and we should start including those number locks so that way it's there. Um, and that way there's just a key there. You know what I mean? There's a key in that box. The only problem is that the customer. I can't tell you how many times I've had that. I've had a customer screw me a couple times, and I got them this time. I remember the last one I had that was close. They almost duped me, but we were installing a gate operator. It's for a municipality, and they. I ended up. I left the box unlocked. I left the key with somebody, and then I had because they give us two keys. I went and hid the other key in the building. It was a new construction, so they're kind of new building, and there was the gates. They had two gates that were going in, and I went and hid that key because I just knew. I knew there was electricians there, there was contractors, there was the guy that was in charge, there was like another maintenance guy, and I just had this gut feeling because I've had this happen to me too many times where I'll be up. I'm like, okay, so like tomorrow you guys are going to be here doing electrical. Yeah, yeah, we're going to be digging up the ground and we're going to excavate. And I'm like, all right, like cool. Like we ain't going to hang out then. Like we won't come tomorrow. And so you guys just get us power in here, hook us up, Sparky, whatever, get your conduit, and we'll come back the next day. We'll get things fired up. We'll get all limits set, blah, blah, blah. And I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a job. I'm heavy into this job. I'm kind of far away, and I get that phone call. And some of you guys know that phone call. And it's that call. Hey man, can't get in the box. It's locked. What are you supposed to do? Why don't you take a flipping grinder to it, dude? Why'd you lock it? Where's the key? And that's what happened. Well, I gave it to the one guy and he left and he didn't come into work today. That's what they were telling me. I said, oh, I said, so you think you want me to drop everything and take food out of my kid's mouths to come up and help you is what you're thinking. I should just drop what I'm doing when I got two other guys or another guy that I'm working with that don't know exactly what to do. Like I gotta supervise them. And now I gotta come up and hold your hand. Oh yeah. So luckily I was like, yo, I was like, go to that man door, around the man door, that one. Yep, that one. Round up by the top there. There's a nail hanging out, whatever. There's a key. Yay. I win. You lose. You know what I mean? Like that's the stuff you gotta that's what I'm telling you. Like I think sometimes in business, it's mostly psychology. You know what I mean? Like you have to look light years ahead. Like you're like, how am I going to get screwed tomorrow? How am I going to get screwed today? Like it's like you have to always be looking how, so that's why uh just put a magnet finally in the one right recently because all of a sudden it started giving us some problems, some circuit board problems. And so I said, I've been here. I know how to handle this. I said, let's bulletproof. Like, let's give this thing a lube job. Like, let's make sure this antenna's up high for their radios. Let's program a remote to try and convince or to beat, I don't know what it is, the door gods, or I'm sorry, this was the gate gods. I said, let's 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 program a remote. Because if we program a remote, it's almost like now we have a remote and we know this son of a biscuit's gonna fail. And now we got a gate operator button remote, even with their name on it, that we can get in. And guess what? Ever since we did that, They haven't called us back yet. I don't know why they didn't call us back yet. I mean, we did everything to tell ourselves it's going to fail, and we're ready to come back. We got all the stuff ready to come back. We got a remote to get in now. We got the antenna up really high, so we got good range because the truck drivers were having a little bit of issue. We lubed everything. We even greased it, greased the bearings. I set the perimeters higher. The perimeter's all set. I even set the motor run timer, and now the damn thing won't fail. All because I programmed that damn remote. I want to program that remote. We would be coming back for free under warranty because I programmed that remote to say, I know you're going to fail. Now it won't. That's how it works. Oh my gosh. Rich is already light years ahead of me. Look, he's already or lockbox mounted on the box. Yeah. Yeah, Rich. Yeah. Just thanks. Thanks for blowing me out of the water. Thanks for making me look bad. Blinking 4 times tells me both arms are open, and I was like, "Well, no, shoot, sure, I got well, two blinks, arms, three blinks is arms are in the open, both blink." Yeah, like I said, it's like the problem is with those gate operators is like they're trying to make them so cheap, and they're competing with so many other brands, and like if you said, like I don't doubt the lift masters maybe a little better, just a little. But to me, they're all garbage. It's like because you're trying to compress everything into a little box, and then everything's got to be sealed. And then you were saying something about like they drilled a hole, which I know is like it to me sounds like what was it, that call box? I think it used to be that we dealt with. And I mean, like you tell them you drill a hole in their box and they like flip. They're just like out of warranty. I can't even help you. Like they'll hang up on you. And so we had one that we didn't drill it, and it was for a keypad. You had a little call box. Raytron? Raytron. I think it's Raytron. They're real fussy. And so we did one for the Coast Guard. The other vendor or other our competition, they installed an antenna on it, and I didn't tell them. I didn't tell them because I knew if they knew the antenna was on there, they were gonna be like, yeah, no, you can't have that antenna on there. And that's the problem to this whole thing. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I know it's not the problem. So, they were real fussy. And I was just like, I can't believe the vendor, our competition, the other the other contractor did this. Why would they drill into this? This is a sealed unit. But that's why I'm always like, if you want something bulletproof, let's say for like a family member or whatever, like you got to have the cabinets. You might not even do the big cabinets. The big cabinets are safe, but the problem is these things run like 5, 6, 8 grand for cost. So by the time you install it, if you charge normal rates, you could be in the $10,000 range per gate operator, depending on what accessories. If you got to get across the driveway, uh, I like how Lift. We always called it master slave. Lift master calls it. What do they call it? One section? No, no. Station one, station two, or something. They got some politically. I was telling the lady. I said I'm pretty old school. I said so. I said she goes. I know what you mean. And I said I said well I just know it as master slave. I said that's how I look at it. Forget what she called it. She called it something else. So I think it was. Yeah, the arms are open. That's why I just sometimes I don't know. Like I said, it's just you know if they're pretty unique or pretty standard. That's why I'm just like, because did you get a price on that circuit board, Tanner? How much is the circuit board? Mm, played it for all done. I know. I see different ones. Just put a diaper. I know. I'm still looking. I seen one yesterday. A guy had a Ford, I think, Power Stroke, and it had like a couple bungees and a cup. to catch the oil. I was like, that's pretty ingenious, you know. Like I'm always waiting for him to come up with like some kind of sheet, like almost like a cookie pan sheet. You'd stick under there, it slide like some grooves, and you put like your pads in there, and it'd keep them from so they don't blow out. I found this really cool clamp because it's got a busted exhaust manifold stud, and there's two holes above it. And there's a guy out there that makes thread of those two holes above the manifold. And then it's got a set screw like on the bottom. And then you crank that down and that puts pressure so you don't have to do the manifold. I was like, dude, that's ingenious for 45 bucks. I was like, can't beat that. That's a great idea. We'll see. I got to still put some more, just got insurance. Still got to get a plate. I think tomorrow, I don't know how I'm going to clean it. It's got like some wood in it. And it's got these seats. It's got a couple transit seats in the back. And so I don't know how I'm gonna wash the floor because it's not real convenient, but I need to like kind of soap and water it and then like vacuum it maybe at the same time because it's got some grooves. So I'm thinking like a shop or a wet vac and maybe a mop, or a sudsy mop solution. I tell you what, I did some fabulosis. My wife, she likes the fabulosis. I'm more of a Pine Sol guy because it disinfects. That's how I look at it. But anyways, I did the fabulosis. Don't tell her I did it. I did it in the shower, in the tub. I had one of my floor mats in the truck, and it just had this salty grind to it since we worked at that salt place on those big doors. And it was driving me nuts. So I was like, I gotta wash this. So I banged it out as best I could, took it in the tub. I took that fabulosis or whatever, sprinkled that, did a little slishy slish on her, some warm water, right, rinsed it. Man, I tell you what, it's still almost like 2 weeks later. That darn floor mat smells. It's like, man, so this puppy smells good. Every time I get in there, I'm always like, truck smells great. I love it. What's up, Burke? What's up? Do, do, do. Oh, that's right. That's right. Tanner says, appreciate now. No problem, man. We always you got questions. You know where to go. Come to the community. We have a great community, great knowledge, a lot of people. That's right. What's he got? What's he got? What you got? Oh man. Oh, work on new did warehouse required diapers. Wow. Wheel covers. Wow. On the lifts. Dang. Like where do you even buy those at? Like I've never seen that. It's not a bad idea. I think I blew a hydraulic line though. I think I remember quite a few years. Luckily it wasn't like a super. I can't remember if that was a new construction or not. I don't think it was. I remember we blew a hydraulic line. I was like, oh my gosh, dude. I was like, if this would have happened on a brand new job, oh, that would have been bad. That's why it's really, it's sometimes it's kind of overwhelming because there's just so many layers to the onion. You know what I mean? When you're doing business, it's just, I mean, Cap come to me the other day because if we do those 20 by 20s, he was like, he's telling me, he's like, and it all changes. You know what I mean? That's what's kind of sucky about it. Like he's like, he goes, are we gonna do two lifts? It's a great question. And I'm like, well, I'm like, it felt like we got two lifts for the last job. And I said, we really didn't need it. I said, because we couldn't get enough manpower there. And then he's like, yeah, but he goes, I think with this job, he's like, and I was like, he's like, we're gonna have to put the manpower on it. I said, yeah. I said, you're right. And he goes, for this builder. I said, I said, you're right. I said, this builder doesn't screw around. I said, he's not like the other builder that kind of screwed us, where we were supposed to be able to knock all the doors out, 5 doors, all one shot. And we get there and it's like, just get this one running the ground level and then get these other four just stacked so it's secure. and then we'll finish up the rest above the header and the Tyvek and the insulation. And it's like, how is this fair? Like I thought you were going to have this all ready for us, so like we could just come in the next day, come in the next day, come in the next day. Hell, we waited. The lift sat there for 2 weeks because we didn't want to travel because it was it was a long distance loser. So now lift's trapped. You know how many jobs we did that were like, man, it'd be nice to have a lift. Oh, it's out in Grand Rapids. So there's just all these layers. So I told him, I said, yeah, I said, you're probably right. I said, better put two lifts on there because, this one doesn't really screw around. Typically, when these ready, they do a schedule. They're nice. They send you a schedule for when they're going to do stuff. So many variables. Did get a price on the board. Oh, did not. Okay. Yeah. The board is not up working. Need to get the keys, do things to find out. Need a board. Arms are bad. I'll keep you posted. Yeah. And maybe it's just something you stall out on too. Like I said, once you get a price on a board, I just don't trust anything now with these electrical, situations and when stuff's compact like that. You know, like I said, that's why I'm always kind of like I kind of go back to the Bic lighter. You know what I mean? Like this is just my opinion, right? But if we had Bic lighters, right, we're at a campsite or something, whatever, and the Bic lighter, it's not like we'd pull out our tools typically and be like, dude, I gotta salvage this thing, I gotta fix this thing. You'd be like, that's stupid. Like, just go to the gas station and get another one. You know what I mean? And sometimes I wonder if we roadblock, at least myself, what I mean, on certain situations where I'm like, I kind of go, I go, I'm the fault. I'm the bottleneck because you're thinking too small, where it's always a balance with customers. Like you're always trying to figure out, because it's like, well, how many times can I realistically, keep coming out here? Do I want to come out here 6, 8 times? You know what I mean? And then ever since, because what did we just have something? I think we just had something. I think Cap was somebody was telling me, one of the techs or somebody was just telling me. He said something about he was going, Dave, you're right. He's like, because we touched it. Now I'm like, that's how it goes, because we touched it. That's now we're at fault. Now it's our baby. And so what I've learned over the years is, at least with the bigger gate operators, I've noticed even is that this is how I look at this, right? This is how I look at this. This is just me, my opinion. Not telling anybody what to do. What I've noticed over the years is that if I was trying to nurture older, this could even be possibly for garage doors and openers too, but with the gates, if you try to nurture it and try to fix it, right? And you try to like you're trying to save the customer money, right? You're like let me like blah blah blah. And it depends on what it is, right? Obviously, if it's a huge whatever, if there's a lot of stuff there, it makes sense to repair it. But then there's like this weird threshold where it's like, gosh, for $600 more or $500 more, we could replace all this and be done. So what I've learned is, because when it comes to older stuff, I don't know what's going on. My one guy at Lanier just retired June of last year. So day by day, month by month, year by year, things are changing. Product is changing that they're not even telling you about. They're making cheaper circuit boards. Maybe they're not spraying them with the silicones. They don't last as long. The beepers are not as good as quality. All these things are changing, right? But it's like you have the sword when you call the tech support and you're like, yo, what the heck? I got a brand new unit here, brand new, and it's not working. I'm ticked. I'm really upset. This is bull crap. And like, I never have them ever give me flack where it's like, well, if you would have bought a new, and I'm like, no, I have the new unit. what's the problem? Now I know in the back of my mind, right? I don't tell them, but I'm sitting there going, I understand things have failures. I understand things happen, right? But like, you better give me, like, you on the other end of the phone have no freaking excuse to tell me that this is out of date. It's old. It could be this. It could be that. Don't tell me you ain't got the freaking schematics to it. Don't tell me you don't got the volt readings. No, we're here. We're now. I'm packing this thing back up. I'm taking it back to the store, or you're gonna help me. You know what I mean? And I don't even like the idea because, like, I guess with Genie or whatever too, like they'll send you parts and stuff, and that's why I'm kind of an advocate sometimes for the stores because it's like I said, for me, I probably learned it with that one guy where I got really upset and I went back the third time, put in parts, and you know what it basically what it comes down to is time is finite. We only have so long on this planet. We're gonna die. I'm gonna die. And when I'm doing business, like I'm trying to capitalize as much on my time as I can, right? Because for a lot of the young guys and stuff, it doesn't happen. You can't see it. You're like, oh, it must be nice to be busy. I used to think the same thing when I seen a guy I used to walk around at the wedding. I knew he did decks, and they were like, oh, he goes on a business trip every year, and he goes on these big. I was like, I want to be that guy. And then I remember like I started becoming that guy, and I did become that guy, and I was like, this sucks. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just constant like problem, 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 problem. So you got to try to find that balancing point. But what I'm getting at is this: it's so I'm like, you want to play these games? I look at it, I go, we can't beat the box stores. Can't beat them. Can't beat the Walmart. I'm not going to be a Walmart. I'm not going to beat Overhead. I'm not going to beat Lowe's or Home Depot. And not to say I always want to go that route. Every situation has its own dynamic to it. But I look at so much stuff where I just go, if I could just buy this and then it doesn't work, I just shove it back in the box. I take care of it right now instead of getting an RGA, or they go, we can't return the whole unit, sir. We can't give you a whole new unit. Watch this. I'll take this puppy right back. Doesn't work. And like I said, sometimes there's a little inconvenience fee. You know what I mean? Maybe something, the customer's going to get an extra remotes or something. You know what I mean? Maybe I've had a couple keys for some reason. They didn't fit back in the box. So I got an extra key here and there. But that was my inconvenience fee. And so, but anyways, that's just sometimes how I look at. Like I said, I think of the Bic lighters. I just go, we don't repair them, we throw them away. We say you're dumb dumb. Let's just go to the store and get you another one. Now if it's a Zippo, it's Grandpa's Zippo. It's been working all these years. Grandpa had it. We might repair it, fix it. Yada yada. So that's why with these gate operators and stuff, certain things, um, I kind of just go, nope. I just don't mess with them because I've had too many times they get burned, and especially at least for us in Michigan, we have a lot of just we have so much. We get like they get full of ants. Seems like wasp, the mud wasp gets into them. We got the snow. People don't clear out the snow, so those arms are constantly working more than they should. The grease in them gets all bound up. It just to me, it's always like I go, this is just not a good situation for you or for me. You know what I mean? Because we're dealing with pennies here. Because by the time I start racking up my bill for hundreds of dollars an hour, you're going to be like, I could have just got a new one for $1,600. And I'm like, you could have. And everything would have been fresh, batteries and battery backup and remotes. And I would have had all the tech support I ever needed. Oh, got it through the Lyft rental. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I bet they deal with that a lot, so why not? That's an extra upsell for them. It's not a bad idea. I'm just really confused because I seen something that said cracked head, but the thing is, like, this thing hasn't, what do I call it? Doesn't smoke one bit. You know what I mean? But like there was like some down by the engine. And I was like, what's this green stuff that looks is bright yellow? So I think, and I was like, I think what I put in is orange. So it could be from the previous though. And so I'm like, why? And I was looking down by the muffler. I was like, yeah, it looks like there's a couple drips down there too. Like that's really weird. Like, is it in the exhaust? Like, is it leaking? When I was trying to think, I was like, what would leak except like a cracked head down a valve? But why doesn't it smoke? Is it because it doesn't get enough? I don't know. It's a Ford. You should always buy. Should have just went older. I really should have went older. Just cast iron block, cast iron heads, and then that probably eliminate most of these breaking off stud crap that they all these new engines deal with. My day at school, new bus barn, huh? But it was cool. Done at the same time. Yeah. Cool and soon. Yeah. Little diaper on. I mean, it's not bad, I guess all I said. And that's another thing I was trying to bring up when you do the, you know, there's so many variables, and this is just talking about a lift, but you think about it like how um when you think about it, like, do you bring your lift? Do you bring a rental lift? So like it's all new construction. So, like, hey, if we were to bring the shop lift, the lift is older. Um, maybe you don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like what if it blows a line? I mean, you have a little bit of an out, even though it could still happen, right? But you could be like, man, rental companies lift blew a line, what I mean? Instead of being like yours, maybe they have a little more, it's a newer machine. I don't know what else we could have done. I mean, some people obviously they know stuff happens, but I could see things going rogue. I might play around with something here in a second. Let's see. Tire tire covers, like hair nuts. Man, I bet those things break pretty easy or they come off, twisting your tires stuff, especially if you got some kind of rough concrete. Well, I could see that just tearing them up, constantly replacing them. And how do you even put them on? You got like lift the jack up with a floor jack or something and slip them on. That'd be irritating. Oh, what's this one? Yesterday had like a tarp thing under blue tire covers. Never seen it. Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. All right, I'm gonna play around with this for a second while we're late in comments. So if I mess up something, I'll try to come back. Uh, if I share my screen, I gotta watch the other. Oh, can't figure out how to share the screen on this one. It's driving me nuts. What do I gotta go to? I'll go to this video file share. I don't want an extra camera. Ooh, I can have an extra camera. And that's the way to do it. All right, we're gonna go share. So we'll let this allow to share screen. Okay, wonderful. I just sitting here doing nothing. I am. Okay, well, that's great. I can do that, but how do I? I didn't change a darn thing. Share entire screen. I didn't change a darn thing. It didn't do nothing. I apologize for the inconvenience. Apologize for the inconvenience. Reload. browsing his lock. I switch the screen icon. Okay. Is this my screen icon? Let's reload the page. Okay. This is my screen icon. Huh. Very confusing. Does anybody work on the weekend? Very confusing. Does anybody work on the weekend? Okay, so I canceled that. Why will this booger not share what I want to share? I think if I click off, the screen goes blank on this one. Oh, let me see if we can get Tanner's thing off here. There's that. Extra camera. You have no slides. I have no slides. Imagine that. I wonder if Tanner's been paying attention to what his gas prices have been going to. Tanner's been paying attention to what his gas prices have been going to. Oh, PT's in the house. What's up, PT? Share screen. Extra camera. Gosh, I feel like we gotta have like an extra camera here. Share. Sharing screen sharing is easiest with 2 monitors. Oh boy. So allow to show share window. Let's see, share window. This might throw me off. It does all. This might throw me off. It does all. Let's see if this works. Allow to share this window. Oh my gosh, what did this do? Let's see if this works. Allow to share this window. Oh my gosh, what did this do? All right, I'll play this for a second here. So all I can see, can somebody put in the comments? Can they see this and hear this? Okay, so it says no audio. Perfect. Somebody put in the comments. Can they see this and hear this? Okay, so it says no audio. Perfect. Now, how the heck do I get out of this? No audio. Perfect. Now, how the heck do I get out of this? No audio. Perfect. So why no audio? Why no audio? All right, so now I got to stop this here. There we go. Now if I go back, I might have, nope, I'm still on here, so we're good. All right, BlackBerry, thank you so much for telling me that. No audio. I was wondering, I could hear it my things, but I couldn't hear it on this. That's really weird. I got my things off, so still have some bugs, some kinks to work out. Help my brother move some stuff out of his basement. He's moving to a different house next month. Nice. It's because you got a pickup truck. Get rid of the pickup trucks. Nobody will use you anymore. I'm just kidding. Get a car. I can throw you up. How about that? I'll throw you up for right now. I don't know if I could say your name. Not working. What's Rich got here? The Philippines. We got a couple people from the Philippines. Great people. Thanks for stopping in. Uh, was a new was a new refrigerant warehouse, smooth floors. Oh yeah, 45 foot. Oh wow. That want the floors marred up. Oh wow. Was a company like GFS. Nice. Nice. GFS. Nice. Nice. Still thinking about this. Look at she just going to town. She got support here. I don't think Smith stopped in today. He's normally our guy from down there. Yeah, I think the weekend, like I said, I'll probably be in and out. If anybody's got anything, I said I'm probably gonna do some scrubbing if it's not raining too bad tomorrow. Look at, I like the attitude. Look at that. I love it. Just today, bro. Like my kids, bro. That's the thing. So I'm a little bit excited too because I did get a new vacuum for the shop. So I know, how can you get excited over a vacuum? But when you got one that doesn't suck, because it really sucks, but it doesn't suck. You want one that does suck. I was trying to show Rusty today. He sent me a picture. I don't think he'll mind. You know what? I give you an A for look at that attitude. You can't beat that attitude. Let's see here. And I would assume maybe somebody's seen it, maybe you didn't. I don't know. It's gonna be kind of hard. Rusty's got he's got a pipe. It's hard to see, but if you look, there's flags. There's like 3 flags out the back. He was like, I need a rack. I said, you at least need a headache rack. So I sent him which and I didn't even know this existed. You know what I mean? But you can actually take you can even I use a bag full of rags I get from the store from Lowe's. You can also set that on your cab. I didn't even know this existed until I watched a fence guy one time. And all he did is he drove around he had a Dodge. I think it was a 4-door long box. I think it had a Cummins, probably a 2006, 8-ish. And he'd haul 21 feet pipe for top rail. He just throw it on the tailgate, throw it on the headache rack. He would wrap it. I never learned about that, wrapping it and then cinch it, with your ratchet straps. Man, that was great. Like it wouldn't move. Oh man, it's bro, man. I like it. Michigan. Michigan. Yeah, hey, PT, he told me that you told him that. I told him, I said, it probably work. I said, it's not that heavy. You know what I mean? So why not? Put it some mirror, put it down towards the bed rail and stuff. But I don't know how that pivot would work. Told Rusty the tie patch second. Handles and mirrors. Yeah, because I was thinking, how you gonna do it from the bed without it banging against the side of it? Hmm. It's not a bad idea though. Oh, that's not a bad idea. There's the couch cushions on top, ladders. That's not a bad idea. Yeah, what was it? Like I said, I was at the store the one day to haul something, and I was like, man, I didn't want to stick it way out the back and hit somebody or whatever. So I Ended up buying. They sell those bags of rags for like white t-shirts, all chopped up. I was like, that's like a pillow. I was like, that'll work. So I ended up uh, throwing that up there, put whatever I had on there so it wouldn't rub on my cab, make a bunch of noise, and wreck the paint. I got some old seat cushions though. Those things come in so handy. I put them in like our wagon for the kids to run around, which is up there. A couple towels around it. Yep. Front and back handle of the door. Yeah, it's probably not bad. I don't know. Let me look at the. Did you actually look at the picture, PT? Because I'm trying to think. Like maybe he doesn't have. I don't know what kind of new the Chevy has, handle wise. Oh yeah, probably just got the plastic handles, but that would work. I don't know if that's enough leverage though. Well, I don't know. That span is not very far. It'd be nice if you could stick something across the bed, or you could do it like what I've seen the guys around here with 2x4s. I don't know if it'd fit under there or not, but you stick it under the fenders, or not the fenders, but the axles. I couldn't. I remember one time I seen that on a car. They had it strapped in the front, strapped in the back. Coming one out of the trunk, one out of the hood. I was like, wow. I was like, what is that hanging into that car? I was like, it's 2x4s. It's like, no way. Yep, tied it up under the truck. Yeah, that's what I was just. Tanner's ahead of me. Yeah, I think I've seen people they could darn near tie it what to the axle, but could you imagine? Could you imagine at the job site? You have to go there and you're like, oh, it's all muddy and stuff. Now you gotta crawl into the truck. Ugh, that'd be crummy. Oh my gosh, yeah. What zip tie it? What's this? Zip tie it to the drive shaft. I still keep coming up, trying to come up. There is somebody that's got something where I tell you what, I think you could get away with the struts. You could piece the struts, and they'll get you out of a jam. But those darn torsion tubes, I tell you what, I'm always trying to find a better way. I think there's a company, Martin. They do have a system. I haven't been able to get my hands on it yet though. But I just keep thinking for people with smaller vehicle, there's got to be a way. You know what I mean, to make it happen where it works good. My thing is, I thought even if you did a machined collar and had it so it slipped in, I was like, well, how do you pin it? Use a roll pin, a couple roll pins in it, whatever. That'd keep the shaft smooth so you can still slide it and get your springs through. It's got to be something. Still hanging in there, bro. LOL, Rich. All right, what do we got? Where we at? Is it the nighttime yet? Oh, it's 11. We probably should. What's Tanner got here? He's throwing me something. Look at Tanner. What is that goofy thing? Oh, it's what do you call it? Rod. It's got rod under there for for concrete. It's pretty sweet. Let me see if I can find that picture that Tanner sent me. This is pretty cool. I really like that picture. I was like, man, it brings back some memories. That's trailer. This would be great probably for like Evan or something. Which way is it gonna go? Look at that trailer. It reminds me when I first had my, you put some walls on that puppy. I think that was what, 20 foot, he said. See how close I can go, if it'll zoom or not. I'll see how smart it is. When I first started out with my long trailer, it actually had snowmobile tires on it. It's all I had for an axle. And the axle was like kind of bent. We put too much weight into it. And the tires would always wear out towards the center or towards the inside badly. So I would rotate the tires or something. I forget how I do it. Flip them. I forget. to make them last longer. And finally, it left us stranded on some dirt road, pretty much like on a Friday. One tire blew, and we were changing that tire on the side of the road. Found some back country road to turn down so we wouldn't get hit by cars. And I told my business partner, I said, "Man, I said that other tire, I said, don't look good." He's like, "Why would you say that?" And I bet we didn't make it probably a half and a mile the most on the road. There went the next one. Couldn't believe it. Now what? Well, there's two of us and one truck. I guess we're gonna have to, So I think one stayed with the trailer, one took the truck to go get the other tires. 'Cause I had a couple tires still that were just used tires at the shop. Oh my gosh. Did we get blessed with the presence of Evan? He's a real garage door man now. He doesn't come in till I think he only sleeps from midnight to 3, and the rest he's working. For 16-foot lug rack, minivan, C clamp vice grips. Nice. Ain't much you can't do without, as long as you got that wheelbase, you know what I mean? And you get it above. It's like that ladder rack. I haven't really been using it lately. I like it for the shelter. And then it was like the other day we had to haul a ladder. One of the guys left his ladder over to finish up the job. And so I was like, I'll just throw it on top, because we really didn't have room. So it's just like that's why I always like the vans and stuff. When you got that wheelbase, as long as you got something up, you got some kind of something up there, even if it's a factory rack or if it's a manufacturer one, you just got all that space. It makes it more sense. You can equalize it, so you can put it out a little more towards the front, put it out a little more towards the back, depending on. You just gotta watch what you think. If somebody's gonna come up behind you. Works. Oh, I see. Works with struts too. I don't know. It's still in my mind. I got to think about. I see they got those packages, which are too expensive, but I should probably just do one to beta test it for like Amazon. They'll send you two pieces, and they got a bracket, whatever, to piece it. And I'm always like, I wonder how strong it really is, or how inconvenient it is to put together. So I'm always like, struts and torsion tubes seem like those are your biggest enemies when it comes to trying to start from scratch to haul them. Ooh, a few times I've been aware. I know it's sometimes the old internet's weird like that. Oh, uninsulated door install. Wow. Yeah, I mean, you guys are up. You're up in the blizzard, the cold. Rich says he don't thinks it'd be as strong. We got to place an order for the Rich B doors, which I think we're gonna do. I got an installation kit from Menards. What kind of blowback you think I'm gonna have, Rich? So I probably won't have the nice plastic inserts, is my guess. So what I was gonna do, my thought process was to order two, two 16 by 7s, and then order a steel back 16 by 7, because they ate it all up. And then what you could do is if somebody wants a vinyl back for a little cheaper, you could take the installation kit and still insulate the door, right? Um, I don't know if it's probably technically cheaper because it's only $100 for installation kit, but how will the quality be? Might not be as good. Or you could just obviously, it's just nice. It seems like you kind of what they do. Yeah, they burned up two non-insulated. So that's my thought process. So, and we really haven't been doing steel back, and they sell. So if we do a steel back, just be a nice, got steel back. 9x7, haven't really pushed to 9x7. 9x7 hasn't sold though. I think that's not insulated. The old shop looks pretty empty right now. What's up? What's up? Oh, not my 6-3 tomorrow. I'm surprised. Um, 16 by 7 Monday. Hopefully standard stuff. Evan, what's your thought process on the are you are you starting to get busy now where you are you what do you what's your pros and cons, would you say? Like now that you've moved up into the truck, is it do you like do you notice that the height is kind of the pack outs are kind of or whatever you're using for I don't know what you use for do you use like some kind of storage kit or how you getting your stuff in there? Like how are you hauling the doors? Are you getting them delivered still? Um Hey, our bro is still hanging in there. Just giving you crap, by the way. Uh, anyone ever run into doors or heard spray foamed? Ooh, I'm gonna change out the springs. Put turns on them. I wonder. A door runs like house or spring broke prematurely. I can't remember one spray foam, but I've come across a lot that insert the pink foam it, duct tape it, whatever they do. And it's like really weird. I mean, it's like weird because like those installation kits I picked up at Menards are light as a feather. Like, how could this ever change the the weight of the door? Like it just there's not like a quarter to a half a turn would dictate this. And but I've been to some and it's like, whoa, like dude, and it's like you give them the whole spiel. You insulated the door, you can't do that. You changed. I can't say I ever had spray foam though. What's the cost to install? Um, ooh, flip up side compartments with ladder rack on top. Is a budget friendly build for now. That's true. That is true. I always worried about like the sides. I figured for myself I'd have to have a step ladder to be honest, because the sides I don't know. I mean, they'd be nice if something like I always was gonna. What I was gonna do is I wanted to do like do a pull out drawer, a full pull out drawer, and then have a topper. Probably still have the sides. I don't think I want any windows in the topper. Um, just for like if I gotta go to the store or whatever. But the sides would be nice for emergency. I would think if something tipped over and got jammed up, I could open it, get in there, access it. But otherwise, I'd want to be able to just mostly slide it all out because it's going to be about my belly button height. You know what I mean? For all my like pack outs, if I was to do that route. Mm. Okay, 10 foot. Have you noticed though, Evan? Like the problem I see that I run into is that there's a couple because there's that one part of me that goes, I go, well, I go, you know, I want to lay the door flat. I don't want to lay them up on their side, especially like in a pickup truck. So I want to lay them flat, and I'm like, oh, you can get an extender, and then that kind of keeps it low. You know what I mean? And then that's more manageable either if you're doing it by yourself. But the problem, um, what I seem like I ran into, like with the truck, was by the time I put a door in there, it takes up all my damn space. Like I ain't got no space for my tools. And then what I didn't like was then I ran into now my tailgate's down. and I got tools in there, and I'm like worried that if I hit the gas or something too hard, all my stuff's gonna slip out. So I had to bungee stuff a lot and just make sure, So that's why I thought, I'm gonna do the rack. So I did the rack on the Nissan, which two of the taller guys were doing it the other day, and I mean, I was nervous. I was watching them, and one of them was like doing like the trying to get down, and they were gonna like looks like the struts right there, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, please don't puncture the back of that door. And I'm trying to like short me, like trying to hold. I'm like, need help? Need help? Whatever you do, don't damage this. Like they got it. They're taller. Charging. I think our non-insulated, our cheapest is about 14. That's with the material. I know our prices are a lot different. Non-insulated 16 by 7. Oh, oh, most of the cabs put in the back seat. So Rich has got 16 by 7. Oh, this is how you know. This is how you know she's real, not a fake. Okay. She's asking the right questions. So I would take it as, right? I would take it as like I look at that either that's a half a day or that's a full day. That's how I look at it. I'm sure if you look at the paperwork, depending if you're tearing out, I bet it's 6 hours. I bet that's what it says on the Service Spring little app thing there. Tanner's got 2 hours tops. 2 man. Yeah, it ain't no 2 hours. I do normally consider everything as like a 2 hour interval though. And sometimes it's give and take. Normally it's like you take out it depends on the situation. But my brain is always everything is 2 hours. I go, it's 2 hours for tear out, it's 2 hours for install. It might bleed over one way or the other. You know what I mean? And that just, that depends if you have a wire issue, if you pinch a wire. Like I'm thinking like a garage door opener. 8 years ago was 2 hours in and out. uh, half a day, depending on. Oh yeah, I never thought about that. I haven't installed one, depending on if it's delivered on time. I never thought about that either. I could see that's one of the drawbacks too about getting them delivered. It's not there when you want it. It's kind of like a concrete load. About 5. Yeah, I figure, like I said, if you said just in generic, I'd say 6, or just make it it's always kind of one of those things that kind of bums me a little bit, where I'm always like, because like I said, I used to do like 2 to 3 doors a day, but those were super long hours. And sometimes, that was like 2 doors being the same job, and then you do one extra one or something, just hammering them out. That's not doing like really good quality work. It was just slap, 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 baby. Um, and so my brain always goes to like, you know, in a nutshell, why you should be paid fair compensation that you should be able to do just one door. You know, because when you look at it and you think about how by the time you got to load it up in the morning, by the time you got to get there, get your tools out, by the time you got to introduce yourself, you got to say hello, you got to pet the dog, you got to do tear out, you got to haul the thing. Like it could be one of those things. Like I consciously am always thinking about time. So like when we got done, we got a late start on that 11 by 9. I don't think we got there till 1 or so. Anyways, one of the guys was joking. He's like, I could do this myself. You guys don't need to be here. And I'm just like, it's like, we might as well. And then, of course, you stack the panels, that all goes fast. And then it's like, but now we start running into, oh, there's a little bit of a header issue here. I got to build out the spring pad a little bit at the top. Is the opener going to fit? All these little things for details start adding up. And then we were getting done. It was about 4:35. And I've already put my heart and soul into this place. You know what I mean? Like it's just constantly thinking how to keep moving, how to keep. And so we were loading up and the bins weren't working that good. So I was telling Kayla, I said, just put the stuff in the corner. I said, I got to go through everything. I said, I got batteries this is like his third job of using these impacts and stuff on. So I got to go through all my batteries. I need to charge everything, you know, just like a fire engine. You know what I mean? Just like a fireman, I got to go back to the station and I got to reload everything for whoever, right? For whoever to come in and assist for the day, to only really get maybe 4, 6 hours of production by the time you do lunch, by the time they take a crap, by the time they have a cigarette, by the time you know what I mean? So we can be as productive as possible. So I have to go back. You have to make sure. So that's kind of the bummer with sometimes the business where, you there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes. My wife was literally working on a preventative maintenance package we performed it, but I had, was there like 20 doors? And so I went through the list and the list and list of stuff, and she typed it all out. It was a little over close to 4 grand worth of preventative maintenance stuff. And that's not even doing the material stuff yet. That was just grease, oil, time. And I'm like watching her. I really wanted to take a picture of her and be like, God bless her for doing it. But I just sit here and I just go, there's so much time. Like, and then she's gonna go through all that stuff for what needs to be done, quote it. They'll probably approve it. But last time they were a little bit, they did some, they fixed some stuff, but they were a little bit like, boy, this is a big bill. You know what I mean? Like they were just a little shell shocked. So it's like this time we're just doing preventive maintenance. Now we'll give them a bid for, not a bid, but they don't use anybody else, but give them a quote for fixing so they feel warm and fuzzy. But there's just so much, so much. And then she's asking me questions, and then it's like I'm like, I don't know, because there's another technician there. It's just not cut and dry. There's just a lot of stuff, a lot of admin behind the scenes, um, to stuff. Oh, to 69 inside door, showed up. Time left it was like 2 hours, and they only have 6 month combined experience. They are doing awesome. Yeah, but one of those things to add to it. I had the same guys, and I remember the guys like I had like 3 different guys, and I was like, it's like, how are these guys getting this done so fast? And the one guys, they weren't changing out the tracks. So this is a good learning opportunity. For one, Tanner, I would definitely encourage you, if you're not using a software or whatever, make sure that they're getting pictures. So I want pictures of the door. I want pictures of my sticker on the door. I want pictures inside and out. So I had that before. So they weren't changing the track. So that was one way they were cutting. Another guy he was a sub. This guy was old too. Like this is an older guy. He was by himself. He was like whipping this stuff out. He'd be back. I'm like, damn, like, how did this guy get back so soon? And I found out he wasn't changing the weather seal. So there's things you got to watch. And like I said, like for me, dude, you give me a Wayne Dalton. Nobody likes Wayne Dalton. You give me a 9,000 series. I can whoop anybody's ass on those. You know what I mean? It says right in the package 30 minutes. Easily can do it 30 minutes. That's just the door. It's not tarot. But look at the quality of the product. It's not very good. You know what I mean? So it's just like, but there's ways, so you got to verify this stuff too. So you got to make sure because that's your name being put out there. So so now, like I said, we actually have it. They do all that stuff. They take pictures of all the residential stuff. It's commercial too. Uh, talk myself into doing, yeah, talk myself into doing the job. Well, and so like with PT bringing that up, I mean that's a valid point. I look at how much I used to do when I was younger, and to be honest, I didn't enjoy it. Like I couldn't even have lunch. I would never even like through the day. You know how many times I'd hold a piss and a shit? You know what I mean? That's probably not good for you. You know what I mean? Like just holding it all day because it's just, And then I found out the hard way, because there was a time I was, I'm running guys, where it's like I'm sitting there, I'm just like, well, I don't understand why, I do 3 doors and you're having a hard time only getting 2 doors done, and well, I mean, you just got it down to you wear the belt, you got the screw guns, you know where to put the screws. You're like a freaking machine. You know what I mean? And then I've had it where I had this happen a lot. I'd run them on the weekend, and then they were so burned out because now they didn't have a weekend, they didn't hang out with their buddies, they didn't have a beer, they didn't relax. Like Monday, the whole next week is almost shot. So it's a hard balance, you know what I mean, to find where you can accommodate. But like now I don't. I enjoy like I sometimes take a lunch. Sometimes it's a 30-minute lunch. Sometimes it's 45. Sometimes it's an hour. And now we don't have to, you know what I mean? Like there's no pressure for anybody really on these jobs. That's why it's always like do a good job. You know what I mean? Be proud of that job. Take your time. Be safe. That's the big thing, right? Because that was another thing never looked at, safety. You know what I mean? And now when you have to pay a workman's comp or you have to pay a claim or somebody hurts their back or they puncture a rib, have that happen. They get a hernia, these are all those things that's like why did this happen? Well, because blah 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 blah. Well, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's work smart. We make enough money. We'll be fine. Let's do a good job. Let's make sure the customer's happy. They understand. We spend the time. Smiley face. Steel craft takes some extra time because there's no marks for center hinges. Ooh, that is a bummer. Make sure they are around the same area and straight. Yeah. And that right there would be a no. That's a no go for me. That would be gone in a heartbeat. I remember Wayne Dalton. I think they had just like slab only or something. Whoops. And I remember they didn't have the dimples. And dude, that added so much time to my job. I was just like, forget this. I was like, I'm not dealing with this crap. I'm never going to order it like this again with a slab or however I had to order. I think it might have been like a last minute emergency and we needed it. So they it's just like, oh, we got slabs, we can cut them, but they won't have, and I'm like, that's fine. That was a nightmare. I'm sitting there measuring them all out. Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. Tanner's got it. Or I'd probably just find another vendor. You know what I mean? That's about the easiest. That's the thing I've learned over the years. You know, those salespeople will come there and make you feel all fluffy and act like you're God sent. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, they're just there to sell the product and make commission, and they don't really care. You know what I mean? And you're not a big enough fish unless you're like the red ribbon company, like overhead or something. You're nothing. You know how many times over the years we were the biggest ones for Wayne Dalton on the west side of the state for many years. And, I would, it's like you think, and they would, oh, I'll mention that next time we have our meeting, and it's like nothing changed. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. And then I got so irritated. You'd think they would learn, like when they would send you, I forget what size of it was, like a 10 by 8. It was a 10 by 8 or something like that. But they package them all together with this horrible foam, horrible foam. I bet over my time of those size doors, I've probably set somewhere between, I don't know, 10 or 15 back because they're rubbed raw. It's like that, it never changes. It's like that is such a low percentage on their totem pole of a percent that gets, they don't care. And it's like when I've been in the meeting before and they're talking about these garage doors. I forget who I was with, what company. It might have been Gatco or whatever, Gradco, Horman. And they were mentioning something like, well, those are lumber grade doors, and I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking, man, honey, you don't know my mama. You don't know my mama. My mama, if she buys herself, she had an Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, black. She loved black cars. She still loves black cars. And I said, like, it didn't matter if it was a Cadillac or an Oldsmobile. A new car was a new car. And I remember the car had a chip or something on it, right? And the guy come out and he was like, "Oh, well, we'll get that fixed." And she goes, "No, no, no, no. I don't want that fixed. I want a new car. Like, order me another one." And I'm like, "Oh, shoot, man." So that always resonated with me that no matter what, because I'm sure you all have somebody in your family that's poor to some are rich to, or somebody, and that little Ford Focus, that means a lot to them. That puts food on their table, that they're proud of it, man. That might be their only first new car that they could ever afford. So I always look at that and I just go, I'm not here to judge, if somebody buys a non-insulated or somebody buys a vinyl back or a steel back or they buy a high-end designer door. That's their new door, man. That's their paradise. That's their dream. That's their house. And I would expect the same. You know what I mean? Like, I don't expect to have a car that's got paint problems or chips, or if I get a new roof, I don't expect it to have some weird colored shingle in the corner. It's just in the corner. It's not the same color, but it's fine. No, I got to look at that every day. So it always kind of turned me off when they were just like, those are lumber yard, and I just thought, well, if that's the way you look at it, you know, or like Amar for me, they would always constantly try to get me to, well, give them a discount. Okay, what happens when I give them a discount? You gonna give me a discount? You give me some money back? You know, I can't constantly always bank on the customer gonna be okay with a discount. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't do that. So I just move on. It's just easier that way. Uh, yeah, it's just how they are. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a cost savings for them, or their machining doesn't have the dimples. I like that. How long for me? Almost 20 years. Almost 20 years. Too long. That's why you get grumpy. You've seen the things that have come. You remember what you used to have. Those lift masters, those beautiful lift masters. I used to install and walk away and say, we'll see you in about 20 years, customer. And there's like zero callbacks. Oh, those were the days. It was FT76. And then now we have to live in the time of problems. Do you know how much I've invested in time looking at new vehicles? A lot. I forget. If I find the video, I have to send it to Rich. I don't know if I sent it to Rich. It was talking about how they're doing it. It's called the pre iPad stage or something like that, or pre screen. Like, people are starting to buy the older vehicles before put the screens in the car because they're just so tech. heavy that they're having so many problems. And I'm like, wow, like that's crazy. And I'm kicking myself because I should have just bought an iron block. I don't know what I had to go to get an iron block. I'd be like, what, in the 80s to get me like a 318 Chevy, not Chevy, get a Dodge. I think the Dodge had it was cast on cast, no cast in aluminum, or just like the old Chevys. What's the Chevys? What year was that? 97 I had. That was a cast, right? 350 throttle body. Usually over 10 hours. Less gets done. Usually quality goes down. Yeah. Yeah, it does. You gotta find that happy medium. I had a dispute with a guy once, a tech, because he found out how much I was paying a sub to come in and do whatever it was, fencing or something. And he just wasn't really thinking, right? And he goes, so you're gonna pay them like whatever it was, $2,300 or something, $2,500 to come in over the weekend and do this work. He's like, you could pay me and this other guy. And I'm like, I could, but here's the problem. I said, you work the weekend, you work your hiney off, sun up to sundown to try to get this done. And then I said, you have to use my tools. I said, and I said, if anything goes wrong with those tools, I said, let's just say a generator doesn't start, who are you going to call? Are you going to figure it out? Are you going to run to the store and go buy a new generator? Probably not. So now I said, here's the problem. My weekend is shot because now I have to babysit or I have to be on call. So when I want to go out on the boat or something, and I get a phone call and I got to tell like my friends or whoever, but I got to go in, I got to go back, or I give you a credit card, or I have to make, and it was something that you made a bad decision on. There's all these things. And then I said, then you're burned out. So I said, now you made all this money. I said, let's say over the weekend. And now you're like, I don't even really need to work this week. You know what I mean? I don't want to, now now Monday comes, I'm fresh. I'm waiting for my crew. Now you don't show up. Now I'm screwed. You know what I mean? It's a bear. It's an absolute bear trying to juggle sometimes. It really is. It's a very vicious cycle. 15 hours days feels same to me. Yeah. You haven't hit 40 yet, have you, Tanner? You're not 40 yet, though, I don't think. Like I said, when I hit 40, man, things just, there's a light bulb. 40, or probably when the kids started playing sports, felt like, you know what I mean? When you started having to go to the school a little bit, start have to watch the plays, they have a special event during the day. That stuff really kind of changes. Like, boy, I really like to go see my kid, get that award. Oh, Ron can't put my door. She was like, just one. I was like, yeah, only 6 hours. I leave for. Oh my gosh, let her install. Oh, look at you. Look at you. Since 2008, you're close. You're close. 2006, May 20 something. I can't remember exactly the day. It's May something, May 20 something, 2006 was when officially I got my paperwork from the attorney. Opener, the door and opener and drive back. Oh, she was like, you're nuts. Yeah, yeah. Heck yeah. I don't blame her. That'd be too much. I'd just be like getting me a hotel. I'd be like enjoying it or staying at sisters. Oh, Rich, how's that sure really holding up? Uh oh. He's got what? He's got trouble in paradise. What's going on? Still working fine. A while back, page was working with me. I had to bolt some loose. Oh, okay, I believe it was the set screws found today as possibly stripped. So I'm gonna look. Yeah, I used the heck out of that thing, man. And I know Papa Tony, he told me firsthand he lubes that thing religiously. God. Have you do worm gear or should I take a look at it? I wonder how that works. See what they do. Yeah, did you Loctite it? Man, I'm so bummed. So bummed. I didn't get to use the spring turner on those big springs, inch and a quarter. Literally like 30 minutes after we're done winding the springs, the wife of Tron shows up with the package. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, oh, this is what I was worried about. All right, Blackberry. I think I'm heading out here shortly too. What is it? Oh yeah, it's probably about that time. It is probably about that time. Well, I say we wrap her up here, you guys. I'm gonna get a little. Go find me some midnight snacks. Oh, I got some hearts. Got some love going on here. Holy cow! Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for being here, bro. It was nice for you being here too. I hope you have a great night. Thanks for stopping in, saying hi, and asking a few questions. Always great. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great night. God bless you. Keep those fingers. Keep working, man. America needs you. We need we need to keep this country alive. Yes, keep stimulating. We need stimmy, stimmy, stimmy. Make that baby money. Over and out, guys. Have a good night.